welcome to Dead Man Talking. Tonight's story is a channel exclusive from the wonderful mind of Jerry Poteat. As ever, please do let us know what you thought down below in the comments box. Please do like and share. It really does help with the channel and our community further. And why not hashtag TeamFEAR. And so, with that aside, let's get into tonight's story, entitled Here I Stay. Let's get straight into that. Here I stay, in a winter cottage, alone, inside a forest in the middle of nowhere. I have a horrible Wi-Fi connection that goes out for days at a time, but for the most part, it gets the job done. I wish I didn't have to stay here, but when Grandpa died, his last wish was for me to have his cabin, and in a way, I feel as though I'm honouring his last wish by making use of it. I know I'll get tired of the isolation one day, but for right now, I come to enjoy it. I can't stand people. They're just too hard to get along with for me. I feel like I can't say a single word without hurting someone's little feelings or without making someone's judgment of me. And so I guess the cabin was a blessing in a disguise. Anyways, I'm writing here to ask for opinions on something. And there's been a series of events recently that's left me questioning what's real in this world. Every night I feel like I'm being watched. There is a window in front of the foot of my bed, and I would have dreams normally at night for the start of it. But then my dreams always end with someone involved getting the most bloody death imaginable. After the death ends in the dream, well, nightmare I suppose. I always see two glowing red eyes and with a wolf howl in the background. And when I wake up, my eyes are immediately drawn to that window. But nothing is there. Always nothing. I don't really know what I expect to see though. I should mention, I don't take any drugs or drink any alcohol or anything. I also don't have any mental health issues that I know of. Besides the disturbing dreams, I also notice dead animals being left at my doorstep every morning for the past week now. All of these animals have their insides opened up and with every bone in their body broken. And so whenever I try and remove it, it just falls apart in my hands like a bag of bloody jello. It's disgusting. I tried to get to the bottom of this ever since the animals started appearing a week ago, but I've had no luck. The only thing I know of that does something similar, or slightly similar to this, is a cat. But there's moose and deer and other larger animals being obliterated, and so I know a regular cat couldn't do this. Maybe a lion or something, but that would be beyond pointless for them, and I'm not in Africa. So, the only other viable option, I think, would be a human. Some twisted motherfucker at that, but I should still be able to catch them on a camera. And so I'll install a security system tomorrow. I'll post here the day after and let you guys know what I've found, but until then, here I stay. So, as an update from last time, I installed the cameras and shit, but I haven't caught anything definitive yet. Just large black masses that seem to sprint at nearly incomprehensible speed. It almost looks like a blur. I say almost because I saw its elbows and torso, along with distinct features on its head, such as long dog ears. I put two and two together and thought that this is very similar to what I see staring at me in the window before I wake up from the nightmares. But whatever this is, I can't determine. I just find it so odd how I never see it when I wake up, but it clearly is there. Maybe it just runs off at the same incredible speed as soon as I start to regain movement, and that's why I never see it. Fuck, I don't know. But I'm worried still. It's starting to get more aggressive and even leave scratches on the front door of the cabin now. Whatever it is, it's also starting to climb on top of the roof as well as make strange sounds during the entire night as I try to sleep. It's getting bolder, is what I'm trying to say. That, or it's getting upset that I'm not understanding what it's trying to tell me. But I don't speak its language, whatever language that might be. Today, I went outside to find yet another bloody dead carcass on my doorstep. As I did the usual routine of removing it, I heard growling from the wood line. It sounded malicious, as if it wanted to saw my neck off with a rusty saw and stare me in the eye while it did so. This thing fucking hated me. I went outside so I could start my car up for work in the city. It's a good hour-long drive, and so I try and make sure I have everything I need while the car is heating up. But for some reason, my eyes were drawn to the edge of the forest again, and just when I turned my head, whatever was growling at me stopped and ran off, causing the trees to part ways as it moved. I have a bad feeling about tonight. I was thinking about staying over at a friend's house just for tonight and head back in the morning. I think it's a good idea because I can also see if I still get the nightmares, but I'm afraid to leave my home to that thing. I guess I'll just have to wait and see what happens. If I can't live there peacefully anymore, then I'll have to pay some hunters to track and kill it. I'm heading to work now, and I'll post later with another update. But until that time comes, here I stay. So, I decided in the end that I'd just have a friend stay over a couple of nights with me at the cabin instead of going over there to them. If this thing is indeed real, and not just a part of my imagination, then I would want some kind of vindication by someone else seeing it. The friend in question, Drew, is with me now. Well, he's in the bathroom taking a piss or something. But what I'm concerned with is that earlier today, when I got home from work, there was a black Suburban parked on the side of the driveway that leads up to the cabin. I make the trip to and from work every day for the past year. I never noticed anyone parked there before. It's not even a real road. I drove past it, albeit very slowly, to see if I could see anyone in it, but nothing. And so I just said fuck it and sped up and got back home. I called my friend immediately after I fixed a sandwich, or might have been a microwave burrito, I don't know. But I asked him if he knew anything about that black vehicle on the path up to the cabin. He said he didn't know what the hell I was talking about. And we chatted about other things and all. And then I asked him if he wanted to come over and play some Xbox on my much larger TV. And this is where we are now. And the thing is, he got here about an hour after we hung up. He lives in the city. I asked him if he saw the vehicle on his way up, and he said he had, but that it was taken off as soon as he was driving by. He said there was 2 men in it with dark shades and suits. And then he switched to another subject after he said that. He asked me why it was so cold in the cabin after looking at the heaters I had positioned in every room. I told him the obvious answer, which is, of course, I don't know. And then he made a remark about hearing a low growl when he stepped out of his car. We spent the rest of the day playing Xbox and eating microwave foods before we called it a day and went into separate rooms, and before long, nighttime came. This night was different though. It was a complete full moon, and the coldness from earlier felt like it instantly vanished and was replaced by a stuffy or drowsy feeling. It was so bad I actually felt like I had to open a window. Now, where I live, there's no snow on the ground, just yet, but it is very cold nonetheless. When I opened the window, it looked as if all the grass was swaying in the same direction of how I opened it, which is forward. I could hear a strong wind, but that was it. There was no sound. I turned everything off to see if I was hearing this correctly, but nothing changed. I was about to go ask my friend if he could see the same thing I was outside, but when I got to his room, he was already meeting me halfway. I asked him what's up. He said he didn't feel right, and he thought someone was watching him. At that same time, we heard a loud, thunderous boom. I could immediately tell the door has either been kicked down or is in the process of it. We both then scrambled to my room, thinking someone is here to rob the place. My room is where I kept the firearms at. Now, I was a terrible shot, and my friend wasn't much better than I. But it made us feel safe nonetheless. As we were loading up our weapons, I took the .357, and since he's a better shot, I left him with the almighty judge. We heard heavy footsteps, causing the floorboards to creak. We aimed for the doorway and waited, but until we see the intruder, here I stay. Okay, so things here have been real hectic since last time, and I managed to find some free time to post again. You won't believe what happened. So Drew is all banged up pretty bad in hospital, and thanks to that fucking monstrosity of a creature. They don't know if he'll even make it. Last time, we had weapons drawn and pointed at that thing that came through the door. It was large in every way possible. It was nearly 8 feet tall and had muscles poking out underneath its fur, which was all over its body, but less in places the muscle was more dense. It had razor-sharp teeth, like a darn wolf, and ears like one too. It was grinning. The grin, it still haunts me, even when I'm not sleeping. It knew that it had trapped us, and before either one of us could move again, it stepped through the door, bending down its head so it could fit inside. What I sensed from the creature was that it was somehow nourished from human terror. As soon as it let loose a terrifying low growl, Drew shot the thing with the judge. It blew him back by a few feet, but the thing looked like a robot malfunctioning, rather than a flesh creature in pain. It did not look hurt, but rather confused. Almost like it was confused we had any type of offense whatsoever, no matter how meager and insignificant it was. It then stepped closer, and Drew fired again while I unloaded the .357 into it as well, but to no effect. It just laughed off the shots, but it still kept walking towards us. I stopped for a second and sniffed at the air, before turning its head to Drew, who was already reloading. At that time, I observed it closer and noticed the bullets had been hitting it, but the marks it left on the thing looked like paper cuts. They must have all grazed off somehow, even though I know that some of them hit it dead on. And when the creature got to Drew, he started to swipe at his ankles, causing Drew to back up onto the bed, right next to the window. And then the creature charged at him and took Drew along with himself out through the window, shattering it. I finished reloading and tried to provide some support as soon as I saw them go through the window, but when I looked out, they'd already hit the ground outside and the creature was on top of Drew. But then it froze in place, and when a howl erupted from the surrounding forest, it then sniffed the air again towards the tree line and broke out into a full-on sprint, trampling over Drew in the process. And so, after I saw it leave, I got everything ready and helped a bloody and bruised Drew off of the ground. He wasn't really responding too well. I drove him straight to the hospital. He's been in ICU for a couple of days now, and I've been staying at a hotel. I've searched online about what it could have possibly been, and everything leads towards a Dogman. I would have thought it was a werewolf, if not for the primal atmosphere that it gave off. But anyways, I'm ready to put it behind me now. I've got all my essentials out of that cabin and I don't plan on going back. But just to leave you guys with one last gruesome detail. When I went back to grab most of my things, like my laptop, Xbox and etc., there was a police car outside of my cabin with the lights still on, the engine still running, but when I got to the door, there was his body, all laid out in pieces, dismembered, guts everywhere. It looked like he was exploded by a landmine or whatever. And on the front of the cabin door was written in his blood what looked like the word, "Go." I thought to myself, that could have been me, and that doorstep could have been where I stayed. Wow. Absolutely chest-pounding fictional story there from Jerry Poteat. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. As ever, guys and girls, please do let us know what you thought down below in the comments box. Please do like and share. It really does help with the channel further and our community further. And of course, why not hashtag TeamFEAR. If you have a story you'd like to share with us here on the show, whether it be a true or fictional piece, please do get it over to myself at the email, which is DMTForestOfFEAR@gmail.com. As I mentioned, guys, I've got to work and wrangle a way to renew my website contract. Just haven't got the money at the moment. broke, flat broke. But as soon as I can get that all back up and running, it will be. So possibly a good couple of months. But as ever, above all, guys, remember, be safe, not sorry.